My Hero Academia Vigilantes, episode 13, final episode of this half season. Is she just watching her own performance?
The recording came out great!
Reliving the moment.
Watching the video again?
And looking at the fan mail.
3 letters. Nice.
That's big, that's huge. It doesn't feel like anything until you receive one. You're like, damn, this is amazing. Because you're just a normal person. This might sound weird, but sometimes it's so poignant it hurts. On the more negative end of things, it's like, do I even deserve this? I hope I'm not doing anything wrong. And then I guess on the more positive side of things, it's like, I could have done so much more. I could have done it so much better. I can do so much more.
It's more official when it's snail mail.
Snail mail equals official, huh?
Let her have her moment.
Okay, time to watch it again.
Moments. Good, this is good. This is a great result. And to think of how afraid she was before it happened.
She's so funny.
I don't know if that line reading was intentional or not. Oh, she's great. But he sounds just a little bit fatigued hearing about the concert that he attended. By the way, where is Knuckle Duster? Has anyone seen Knuckle Duster? Random thing to throw in here because I just watched the movie. You're next. Between the villain of that movie and also Captain Celebrity, recently I've seen a bunch of like All Might facsimiles, and there's definitely some difference on strength grounds, right? But the thought just popped into my head that one of the biggest differences in how it feels and comes across, even though on the surface there's a lot of similarities, is that All Might really means it. His intentions are just so deeply pure, so that even though there are flaws in the model as have played out in the main show, at no point was he lying or deliberately trying to spread delusion. He really just was that and believed in that with his heart and soul. So there's no extra. Hard to really explain perfectly what that is, but you feel it. What a Man Takes With Him, episode 13. Crazy title.
A mantis villain?
Scyther.
I'm the vigilante who glides onto the scene when he hears a citizen crying for help. That
was a long one.
Here.
He's really trying. He's playing around with these lines. This is helping. We're helping. Pop is jumping around. She's still listening to her performance.
That one on the
Oh, okay. That would have been hilarious. Speaking of
Konnichiwa,
the devil.
fine people of Naruto.
Konnichiwa.
I am Captain Celebrity. Let's go and stuff.
More succinct than the crawler. We still have unresolved issues here.
I'm the one who should be saying thanks here, bud.
This is nice. Where are the cameras? What's your agenda? I would love it if this were real, but I have my doubts.
I don't like the way you do things. Your whole
Here it
teasing
is.
out villains you've got no chance of dealing with on your own.
Maybe it's concern. Maybe it's concern.
Do your part and start acting like an everyday citizen. You don't have the power to handle those situations? Then stay out of them.
It's a tricky one.
To put it bluntly,
There is a genuine
my plate
argument
is
to be made here.
completely stuffed.
Sure, my bad.
It's going to be really easy to say and then way more difficult to actually find this in reality, but I think it can be simultaneously true that Koichi needs to have that sort of aspirational spirit and not shy away from challenges because they're challenging or because he doesn't think he's good enough. But reality has to be accounted for, and I think there's sort of an optimal point where your capability meets the challenge. The maximum point you can take on to push yourself, but not yet so far out ahead of your skis so that you're putting yourself in danger of like permanent systemic harm or actually making things worse. And just my guess that the way this would be useful to most people is actually that they need to take on bigger challenges. The biggest things that also happen to be the right things and the best things to take on. There is something really cool about this, and I say this lovingly about Koichi, even though this is going to be somewhat of a criticism, where he's kind of playing this dual game and not quite facing either of like pretending he's okay with where he is, which prevents him from consciously agreeing to the challenge of it and doing what it takes in the right way to get where he wants to go, and having something to prove without having accepted those things, which leads him into situations that he's not quite ready and hasn't been broken enough to that foundational core so that he can just accept that and like build from the ground up. And I think this is one of the reasons why, or is connected to why he's sort of resentful of Captain Celebrity. This might sound weird in this context, but like really I see this a lot, and I think this is it's one of the hardest personal issues to really fix. There's no real outside solution to this. It has to come from within, where like if you're protecting something like that and you're not willing to re-examine it, you're always going to be sort of limited and crippled by that non-continuity or harmony of self-belief and framework for action. Just an example, you see this sometimes with people who like as kids they took on the identity that they were special and they were chosen ones, and what happens a lot of the time is the world just breaks you of that, and like you have to break to a certain point and sort of like surrender it and then just be honest and like look at what it is and what your position is, and then you actually can do something really cool because you no longer have anything to lose. You can just sort of like building from the ground up, and it's just nice to realize that some things take work. You know, the things you thought were just default or were like a category of your being, it's just reasonable to expect they take time and energy and effort. A lot of people think that they've done that because they've had bad experiences, right? And they have a lot of emotional trauma, and they'll say, well, life has broken me. Haven't I been broken enough? But whatever they're attached to, the identity thing or that assumption that they can't let go of because they're so afraid to, is still being held onto. So it ends up just being baggage and pain and fear without actually having like revisited the root of the problem. Speaking of purity, maybe we can compare Deku and Koichi in this way. Because Deku also is super ambitious and is always reaching higher than his station. But there's something that just feels a lot cleaner about the way Deku does it than the way Koichi does it. Because it doesn't really feel like Deku is trying to protect anything, right? He's not trying to protect an identity or an image. He's just following a star and he's willing to just burn himself in that star. So there is no room for self-delusion or identitative crafting through narrative. He just sees the challenge, the next thing in front of him, and I will do whatever it takes to get to this challenge. There's no thought about like, what does it say about me? Am I the type of person who can do this? Well, yeah, I think I am the type of person who can do this because I'm me, I'm Deku. Koichi got beat down by his mom, right? So he has the trauma and it seems like he's humble, but it's not the same thing as humility. It's like just hesitance while still carrying that subconscious deep down level assumption that is his destiny. That is what he is. And I think like over time, the more obvious that dissonance manifests. This is going to sound radical because it's the opposite of what a lot of the things we're told and the things we tell ourselves, precisely because we're built around this. I mean, even at a societal level, I think this message is kind of hardwired in of like, no, you are special. You are amazing the way you are. And it's so tricky because I agree with that in a certain sense. Every human being is so beautiful and special and has so much potential and can do anything and has that spark. But in the ways in which we meet life, a lot of them just take work and they take humility and they take eating crap for a while. They take skills that we don't have yet. And though we like to use the word deserve, most things that we interact with in life don't fall into that category. It's not relevant. It's not applicable to that term. And it's also not useful at all. And it's way too common to just sit there beating yourself up and say, oh, I'm just like intrinsically terrible and I'm the worst. None of that's true either. That's the same problem. It's another identity. It's more like you just have to crash the level in whatever area of your life that narrative has taken grip and just break it to the point where it's neither of those things. It's just you living in the world and you're going to do your best.
Since you're here, think you can make the next Naru Fest?
Oh, what's that, miss? An unpaid appearance?
Not without blackmail.
Realize none of the performers at these shows get paid either, right? We're all busting our butts out there.
That's a travesty.
You're busting your butts for your own enjoyment. I'm talking about my livelihood here.
You get paid in attention and craft service.
He just wants to grumble and make excuses.
Yeah, fair
Ooh,
point.
cold, icy, passive aggressive.
At least you found enough time in your busy schedule to come hang out in my apartment, right?
He's so salty.
This is the closest thing I've had to a break in I don't know how long. I have the right to milk it.
Okay.
Just a baby.
Breather here, but I...
He's gonna come over all the time now. Koichi's house just seems to be the hangout.
Any chance my boss is at your place?
Who's really the boss?
You rat!
Does he?
You were already outside. How does everyone get up these stairs so fast?
Now, we've got a commercial shoot to get to, then that finance interview, and your shoot for GQQ.
The world's smallest and most colorful subtitles I've ever seen.
He has a point. We did
Yeah.
kind of make more trouble for the captain and the other heroes. Maybe
There's
we
choices
should
to
keep
be
our
made.
distance when the villains seem too dangerous.
Or like up your approach.
Things have gotten worse since that first wave of trigger incidents.
Yeah, they are escalating.
Some of them are even more
Deliberately.
ferocious than before, or they don't
Not an
transfer
accident.
back.
Could that mean there are more villains showing up even without the drugs?
Imagine like being stuck like that eel dude. That's tragic.
No one's asking you to go get in fights with villains.
Right.
You could be like a freelance sidekick.
But he has a chip on his
Picking out
shoulder.
people in trouble and call the heroes for them if they need it.
This
Like
really,
no
really
space
bothers
guy
him.
would
Yeah.
do.
This needs to be hashed
That
out.
does kind of make sense.
Just imagining Koichi never learning and just the worst possible route. You know, it actually might be Stendhal. If we're talking absolute worst. No self-examination, no reflection. The aspect of this that's about him and his ego is allowed to totally take control over the pure aspects of like just genuinely wanting to help. The level that it's for his own self-aggrandizement and like trying to meet this image he's built of himself. More commonly to real life in the way I've seen it and experienced it, it's that he's just a liar. He's not really that capable. He's not really that confident. He's still getting into a mess. He's not handling his life very well. But he's let the concern over that narrative win to the point where he'll just lie to others and also to himself about what the things mean. He'll exaggerate. He'll create significance around the little things he does do that nobody really finds significant. And also everyone can immediately see through because it doesn't really fool people. He'll constantly change friend groups to find more captive audiences to hear about his greatness. He'll hide the ways he's really hurting from his true friends. When the sad irony of it will be that assuming he has real true friends at that point, they will never have cared about that thing in the first place. They will care about him and they'll be worried about him. And like, why don't you just tell us the truth about what's going on? We're not going to judge you for not being the successful hero that you said you wanted to be. But the reason the lie exists in the first place is not even for others. It's only for others as a byproduct of it being for oneself and one's own fantasy role fulfillment. The good path is one of two things. Either he resolutely comes to terms with the fact that fighting giant monsters is just not what he's best suited for. And he finds something that he's really well suited for. And he gets everything he needs in terms of like that growth and the service and feeling like he's living his life to his potential in different ways. Or he acknowledges that this course he's on, the way he's doing things is not going to lead to what he wants. And so he alters his approach. And that'll take like a really difficult, hard look at his efficiencies. And he'll just go back to those efficiencies and improve them until he is ready to participate in this stage on a meaningful level in like full truthful honesty. And like either one of those would be great. Oh, there's another common bad path too. It would be spending his whole life complaining about how he was cheated out of what he was deserved, how here society is corrupt and unfair. Speaking of Stendhal.
For instance, remember Teruo Unagisawa?
This poor kid, man.
He determined this wasn't a quirk gone out of control, but a semi-permanent modification.
Semi-permanent, all right.
It's our privilege to present our free community music showcase, Narufest, brought to you by Marukani Department Store.
Our fandom is growing.
Suki, 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 daisuki.
Okay, thanks for that.
So long as we have the drive to break through.
I actually really love his theme song.
Once again,
It's so cool.
the Naruhata section of the Capital Central Loop Highway is now fully restored.
That's great news.
Hold on. Could you back it up a few frames, please?
What do you want to filter?
Shooting a retake right now is asking a lot of Ingenium.
Please, my legs are good for another. Why don't we just knock it out before we break down?
You don't have to indulge Captain Celebrity, but Jenny, too
He's
nice.
a national hero. I would
Aw,
expect
that's
nothing
sweet.
less.
Ah, a professional and a lifesaver.
A lifesaver
Oh, hello.
indeed. Couldn't do it without you.
Oh no, maybe Captain Celebrity gets juiced. That would be crazy.
I tried asking Makoto, but she told me the captain has a commercial shoot today. No, what?
We don't need him.
I just lied to kids.
Oh yeah, we like the kids. That's okay. If you're not lying to kids, can you even call yourself?
How is everyone?
Hey there.
If you're not lying to kids, can you even call yourself Koichi's mom?
Naruhata's own. He's the guy who's painted like a hero. Like if you squinted really hard.
Brace yourselves for disappointment. Did you say the crawler? She said the crawler, right? That'd be sad if she said crawler. Do the thing. Do your thing. Yeah, do your light thing. It's cool. It's actually really cool. It's aesthetically pleasing.
Well, I guess I'll sing a song to start off.
That's not why you're here?
Suki, 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 daisuki.
Who did it better?
Kind of pisses me off that he doesn't totally suck.
Yeah, I kind of like Koichi's version better.
This guy rocks.
Oh, they're nice kids.
Also, when do we get to meet the hero?
Oh,
One
more
problem
lies.
Turned into two.
You can solve a lie with more lies.
Scene 21, take 3.
That's a lot of juice for Ingenium. Wait, they do 23 takes of that? It's high budget. Oh, that wasn't part of the script? I thought that was the commercial. No, we've launched a pterodactyl villain who probably does some other random thing like tennis.
I see him. Hard to miss.
Oh, is it the same dude? It's the same dude. We saw him before. We had this exact same race.
Don't resist.
I've waited for this.
What a coincidence.
It's my turn.
For
You
more
won't
advanced
miss me
tag?
This time. Fall to your death.
Oh wait, I already know he doesn't die. This is gonna make a great commercial though.
I hear his voice. Won't escape me. My revenge is gonna taste sweet.
Oh yeah, he stopped him the first time. Well, there's no time to deliberate whether or not we're out over our skis. It's coming to us.
Is that a flying villain?
Did he just steal Koichi? Damn, he got snatched.
There we go. Shouldn't have slowed down, ugly bat.
That might not take him out. So much for Koichi. Oh, it's also humiliating.
You're the bait until I arrive.
Oof. Ouch. Humiliating. And interrupting Koichi's big moment too.
So nice to meet you.
Nice job, Koichi.
I kind of want to see Koichi break because I love Koichi. I mean, weirdly, one of the most intriguing character episodes for me this half season for Koichi was Captain Celebrity's first appearance because it's like, oh, there's some like real darkness here, but also in a very relatable slice of life way. I mean, everyone knows envy. And I remember in that video, I was saying like, it would sort of be a mistake to have the solution to his jealousy be Makoto just hating CC and being on Koichi's side. That would be great for Koichi situationally, but like, it's kind of convenient for the deeper problem. The answer there wouldn't be Makoto so terrible or the world is so unfair. It would be more like, that's the way it goes. And I need to figure out what I'm doing and what my goal is, what I actually believe, and like figure out really what I need to do to become the person I want to be. Without like, I'm so great because I help ladies cross the street and because of my pure spirit and other people aren't as pure spirited as me, so they don't deserve the things I want, like attention. I know I'm exaggerating, but there's like a little something of that in there, right? There's a drop of colored paint in a clean pool. And this is really tough because there are levels to cleanness, let's call it, in these situations, right? Like for example, when you're looking at people who are really successful and famous, maybe there's some jealousy there because they have the things things that we want, right? And in trying to figure this out and cope with that emotionally, better than like, life is so unfair, people are so terrible, is something like, well, let me not over glamorize, over judge this person's situation, because surely all of their success had costs too, and they are human, so they certainly have their own struggles, and no one gets out of life unscathed. And yeah, they're successful, they have screaming fans, but maybe they have a terrible home life. You know, maybe they're racked with depression. And that is kind of cool, because at least that is a thought that is a little bit more expansive. It's a little bit more understanding. But what's crazy is that even that is sort of an escape, because like, why does it matter, and why does it make it better that they also have suffering? The real hardest layer, that maybe is the most useful layer, is like, maybe they just are great and have everything I want, and there's no costs. You know, why is that threatening? What would that change about anything? And the answer to that is exactly where the solution lies. Like, whatever that thing is trying to protect is the thing that probably needs to go. Like, this is not as bad as I thought, and I shouldn't be as jealous as I am because that person's life has problems, thank God. Where does that come from? Why are we rooting for things to be worse than they appear? For us, I mean, their suffering doesn't make our lives any better. The best focus will always be the same regardless of other people's circumstances, regardless of what we want to believe. It just is the way it is, and like, the resources that we have and all we'll ever have are the things that are directly in our control. And the more honestly, though critically, not judgmentally, not categorically, you know, not like self-hatred, not I'm so worthless, I'm a loser, but like really honestly, like up to this point, I haven't been able to get those things. I feel a little bit vulnerable in this area. Maybe I just haven't done the necessary work. Maybe there's something I'm misunderstanding, and that's okay. There's no need to go into like, oh, I should have done this earlier. I'm so stupid for not figuring this out earlier. Other people figured this out before me. I wish I was like them and had figured out. It's just like the same thing over and over again. The trap will present you with that solution as a way to keep you in the trap. Your life just was what it was in the past and is what it is now. And it can be any number of things in the future. And the things you think you want that you're not getting, probably you're confusing specific things when really the need is quite general. And there are a billion ways you could honestly solve that need without fantasy or sour grapes or coping. At least he's smiling.
Hold on. Aren't those
Did he just drop those off?
the things Master always wore in his hands? He left his mask, too.
I think he's hanging it up.
He wants me to clean them off. They are pretty gross.
Maybe he's throwing those ones out?
That maybe is the closest, yeah. Nice of him to clean it.
Once we're done here, wanna head back to my place?
Can't. Got somewhere I need to be. Gonna leave the rest to you.
Sure. We'll be good
He never fully let us in.
I know you will.
But the last time we saw him,
Oh, hey, Makoto.
everyone has just free access to Koichi's apartment.
I still want an interview with that master of yours.
Yeah, but I don't think he'll be back
If you find him,
today.
let us know.
I'll tell him next time.
Feels like this guy's impossible to catch.
He is the knight. I came here for Knuckle Duster and Pop and everyone but Koichi. You alright, Koichi?
That dynamic turned around.
It did. It's weird because I don't know, maybe I'm just making all this up. I don't know if the show will cover this. Am I crazy? Because he's typically very like good-natured and good-spirited. But this is a thing, no? At least like on some minor level. It just never like comes around. Who is it? The wife? Okay, that doesn't mean what it looks like it means. Oh, it's the daughter and she's okay.
Who are you? You don't look nice.
Ouch.
My head, it hurts.
Yeah, you were hosted by a bee.
Where is my dad?
Yeah, where? Well, I mean, yeah, if she's here, he can't be far. There he is. That's a relief. At least we got to know the answer to that question.
My head hurts.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's rough, buddy.
Why isn't Mom here?
Uh-oh. Damn, he saved his daughter only to get here to see his wife die.
But hey,
He told her, yeah. He told her, right, okay.
And she smiled.
Okay. There's some comfort in that.
I can't see her.
Not yet.
Oh, she's still alive. Oh, this is amazing.
I am here.
Who knows? I mean, that news might have saved her life, just in terms of her will.
Seems a little extreme for our day-to-day needs, no?
I wanted to fill it up with any concert pics or fan letters I get.
It's Koichi's apartment.
When I really take a second to remember, the time I spent with him wasn't that long.
Yeah,
It had to
right.
only be a few months at most.
Significant few months.
From that day
Time is
on,
funny like
the
that.
trawler had to fly solo. With no
Aw.
master there to teach me how to follow the right path.
Interesting.
Just goes to show you what impact a guy like that can have.
Absolutely.
My own battle hadn't even started yet.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
None of us could have realized that.
I mean, beside the villain stuff.
Time only goes forward. And as one season ends, a new one begins.
All right, as long as it's not the Liberation War. It could always be worse. There's a funny thing about time. One way of looking at it is we actually can't experience time directly. Like, what even is time? We experience event and we know time through change in event. But an interesting result of that is, like, in our conception of time, you can sort of play with the speed of time by using events. So there have been times in my life where I was just like in a routine, and my conception of that time is that years just fly by, and I'm like, damn, it's been how long? And then there are other periods of my life that are like 3 months, and it feels like years, because there were just so many independent, varied, significant events that the timeline is just stretched out on the paper. You know, people say time speeds up as you age, and maybe there's something to that I'm not thinking of, but I think at least part of it is probably just that, like, the older you get, the more likely you are to fall into a routine. You know, like if you're 65 and you decided to travel to 20 countries in a year, and you had grandkids, and you started a grandpa travel Instagram account, and you tried skydiving and jet skiing and a bunch of other stuff for the first time, etc., 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 that would seem like the year of your life, and time-wise it would occupy a disproportional slot. So like, follow 4 more hacks type thing if you want to live a long life, do a lot of interesting stuff, and move quickly. So that's the end of Vigilantes season 1 part 1, I guess. Overall, I'm pleasantly surprised and really enjoyed it. I think I'm always a little bit reluctant or hesitant to watch things that are like earlier in the timeline, but this show doesn't feel like an unnecessary spin-off to like rehash things we already know. The world is so well built and the themes are so complex and rich and strong that honestly the main show doesn't have enough time, right? Like the main show has its main things it's going for, and it does those really, really well. And just through that process, it'll touch on some really great stuff. But I think Vigilantes is a really cool opportunity to like really dive more deeply into some of them. And so at least so far, it ends up feeling like it fits really well into the main corpus. Though it might not sound like it in this video, I really like Koichi a lot. I think he's a really great character because he has enough of those good things that, you know, we love about the heroes in the show, but also in a way that makes it a little bit more relatable and lifelike to the modern person. But yet we still have the excitement that he could get there, right? It's not like he's just from a young age has this perfect burning spirit, and the challenge will be like how to get oneself to a level where you can match the potential that you have and the, you know, the North Star you're following. And instead, like, well, if you want to get that, there's some very human stuff you need to look through and burn through. And also, though, like, I'm convinced some interpreters of the show have it backwards in their criticisms of Deku, where like, oh, he just got lucky. Whereas I think it's not luck, it's stemming from his character, because that's the most important thing and that's the point. It turns out that Koichi might be an answer to some of those criticisms anyway, because he doesn't receive All Might's power, right? He has like a scooter quirk with cool lights. He's not ridiculously overpowered. He doesn't have the best mentor. I mean, Knuckle's great, right? But like, Knuckle is not All Might, you know? He's not going to receive one for all. He just has what he has, and that's enough if the spirit is right. Knuckle, I think, is such a great character. He grew on me, I think, the most over the duration of these 13 episodes. I'm a little bit sad that he's gone, but it also is sort of perfect, right? Like, he came in, he made this big impression, it was very poignant, and he completed this element of his journey. And like Koichi said, he left them with a legacy, so he's not really gone, right? He put the early show on his back. He gave Koichi a lot of gifts, and now it's up to Koichi to take that and move on with it. Pop also is a great addition. I love Makoto. I hope we get to see more of her, not just as a manager, but her core philosophy, which I think is fascinating. I love characters like that are just exploring. I want to see more of the questions of the ethics of this, and I'm really curious to see if Koichi actually has development in the ways I think he could use development.